Unfortunately, it looks like the Game of Thrones franchise is on the verge of losing millions of their fans all over again. I haven't seen everyone this divided ever since Game of Thrones aired its final season over 5 years ago. Now that House of the Dragon is already over, everyone is asking why this season only had 8 episodes overall. I think everyone now knows something was left out of the show after watching House of the Dragon season finale. As you all know, they should have ended this season by showing one of the major events in the Dance of the Dragons. Why the hell would HBO only release 8 episodes for their flagship show? They know firsthand how much the shorter seasons affected Game of Thrones. Why would they make this same mistake again? Well, I might actually have the answer thanks to some of the investigators over on Reddit. It sounds like this season would have had an amazing ending if only they allowed the writers to do their job. They initially wanted to have the Battle of the Gullet in episode 9, while the Fall of King's Landing should have been in episode 10. Unfortunately, they had to end this season after only 8 episodes because they were not given enough money to film everything. We already know George R. R. Martin and House of the Dragon's creators did not want shorter seasons. He initially revealed this on his Not-A-Blog website when he said, "We're gonna need 4 full seasons of 10 episodes each to do justice to the Dance of the Dragons from start to finish." They wanted to give us 40 episodes across 4 seasons. I mean, God forbid they actually listened to the man who wrote Fire and Blood, as well as A Song of Ice and Fire. As they were getting ready to release House of the Dragon's second season, the writers sat down for an interview so they could discuss the show. While they sat down for their interviews at Entertainment Weekly, Sara Hess would not say why the second season was shorter. We can only assume she wanted to stay out of hot water with the executives. The only thing she did say was it was out of our hands. It was not something they decided on their own. In a new interview, House of the Dragon's head writer and showrunner Ryan Condal said, "One of the main things he has to do is balance the storytelling and the resources they have available. Whenever you're making a show as big as House of the Dragon, you're going to need an incredible amount of resources, construction, armor, visual effects, and so much more." He said, "We want to give the Battle of the Gullet, which is arguably the second most anticipated action event of Fire and Blood, the time and space that it deserves. We just wanted to have the time and space to do that at a level that will excite and satisfy the fans." Now we're starting to see exactly why they had to make a shorter season. They could not film the Battle of the Gullet or the Fall of King's Landing simply because they were not given enough money. They were also not given enough of a notice to rewrite the entire season either. They basically had to chop off the end of the season, otherwise the show might have been delayed for another year. All of this was a result of the writer's strike as well as the merger of Discovery and Warner Media. Unfortunately, all of this happened around the same time they were writing the second season. After they made this mega merger, CEO David Zaslav started looking for ways to save money. For those of you who don't know, the amount of debt they're in is insane. In fact, only yesterday, an article came out that says the David Zaslav-led media company posted disappointing second quarter earnings Wednesday, sending its shares tumbling in after hours on Wall Street. Their company continues to grapple with cost cuts to rein in its more than $38 billion in debt, a legacy of its 2022 takeover of the larger Warner Media from AT&T. This directly affected House of the Dragon. They were only given enough to make the 8 episodes, therefore they had to delay certain events until the 3rd season. Now, some of you may be wondering why they didn't rewrite the 8 episodes they were given as a way to adjust for the new budget. Well, you have to remember, they wanted to have all the writing done before the writer's strike, that way they could still film everything on schedule. If the writer's strike happened while they were in the middle of writing the season, they would have been forced to stop until it was over, and you have to remember it lasted for nearly 6 months. It would have most likely delayed House of the Dragon's second season another year. Imagine if we had to wait 3 years for the second season, while still only getting the 8 episodes. They were kinda screwed either way. As you can see, they did not have enough money to make all the episodes they wanted, and they did not have enough time to write the season over again before the strike. If they wanted to stay on schedule, all they could really do was chop off the last 2 episodes of the season and save those for season 3. HBO should have given them the extra $50 million, that way the second season had a more satisfying ending. Now, what makes this even worse is the fact that Ryan has already said the same thing will happen for season 3 as well. As of right now, season 3 is only going to have 8 episodes. It sounds like they want to save $50 million again. Here's the major issue though. They might save around $100 million now, but they will eventually lose hundreds of millions of dollars if they dismantle the entire Game of Thrones franchise. It makes no sense for them to make sacrifices with House of the Dragon when they're already so invested in A Song of Ice and Fire's universe. Will anyone watch Dunk and Egg or the series about Aegon and his sister wives if they drop the ball again with House of the Dragon? In that same article I read earlier, it said their global direct-to-consumer subscribers is now up to 103 million, which was increased by the second season of HBO's House of the Dragon. Once again, they can thank Game of Thrones for making them all this extra money. It is their golden goose after all, but it's not going to stay that way if they drive away their fans again. They really should invest the extra money in House of the Dragons next season, otherwise they will start to see a major loss in those subscriptions. It's funny how they offered Dan and Dave an endless amount of money to make more seasons of Game of Thrones, but now their new leadership is wanting to water down the brand even more. Like I said, they might save money now by releasing fewer episodes, however, they will end up losing hundreds of millions of dollars if House of the Dragon fails in the end. House of the Dragon's success will directly affect Dunk and Egg, as well as any other Game of Thrones show they have in development. Everyone knows Game of Thrones was a global success, but its final season led to a mass exodus from HBO. They should understand that better than anyone. They're able to see the numbers firsthand. If they're not going to give them a bigger budget, they will have to give them an extra season, otherwise we're going to miss out on other battles. I actually feel bad for the writers. They're basically demanding them to make a Mona Lisa with only a box of crayons. Let's hope they finally listen by giving the showrunners everything they need. None of us want to see them make the same mistakes again next season. Now, with all that being said, I don't think the money would have solved all their issues anyway. As you all know, the writers still made mistakes of their own. I don't want to sit here and act like HBO or their executives are responsible for every bad decision. I just don't think it's fair to blame the writers for everything either. There's a lot of things they could have done differently that weren't really affected by the budget. It's unfortunate that we're having this conversation again. I don't understand how HBO and their writers are finding it so difficult to create a show that's based on George R. R. Martin's incredible writing. He's already done most of the heavy lifting. All HBO has to do is give them enough money so they can adapt what's already written in the novel. We already know they're heavily invested in the franchise. HBO has roughly 7 other shows in development. The other Game of Thrones shows will not succeed if their fans lose all confidence in their ability to adapt those stories. All we can do now is hope they learn from this before they finish making Season 3. I still believe they'll make an amazing show. The Dance of the Dragons has some of the greatest events in Westerosi history. All they have to do now is follow the author's novel. The guideline is already there. Let me know what all of you think about these revelations down below. As always, I'll release new videos every single week. I still have a lot of videos to make about House of the Dragon's second season, as well as Game of Thrones, The Winds of Winter, and the new Dunk and Egg series. Once again, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I hope I will see all of you back here for my next one. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye.